We need to talk about what actually happens to your metabolism as you age, because apparently some people are still confused about this.
People don't realize that a slow metabolism gets that way because it's been damaged. No one is born with a slow metabolism. It gets that way because it's been damaged over time. Because you've been eating too little for too long and your body's basic functions start to break down and stop working. You're feeling tired, cold all the time, and bloated after every meal.
As a weight loss dietitian and fitness expert, there's one sentence that I hear all the time from men and women, which is, my metabolism is not the same as it was when I was younger, or I have a broken metabolism. And it's not hard to find videos on social media, like the one that I just played, of people trying to sell products or supplements to fix your broken metabolism. But is your slow or damaged metabolism really the reason for your lack of weight loss progress? There's an interesting study that looked at metabolism over the lifespan that gives us an answer to this question. It's a very large, well-designed study that included over 6,400 participants from across 29 countries, with subjects aged 8 days to 95 years. In today's video, I'm going to share the fascinating results of this study, including the exact age at which your metabolism starts to slow down. I'm also going to cover how to lose weight as you get older without the struggle and without wasting your money on supplements that do not work. So if you want to find out more, make sure you watch the full video. Hey, welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Andres. I'm a registered dietitian, Hispanic, Latino, and also I'm a weight loss expert. I'm also a husband and a dad to a 1-year-old son, Maxi. I happen to be the CEO of Planus Nutrition, which is an online coaching company. It's been around for over 10 years, and we help specifically busy dads to improve their nutrition and drop the last 15 to 30 pounds of fat for good. Again, we've been doing this for a long time, so I like to believe that I know what I'm talking about. I'm excited to have you here for today's video because I'm going to be doing some myth busting today around the topic of metabolism and age. So if you're in your late 30s, your 40s, or beyond, and you've noticed it's been harder to lose weight than it was when you were younger, then this video is going to explain why that might be going on and how to fix it, so you can break through a plateau that you may be experiencing and see the results that you actually want. Now let's get into it. Let's start with an explanation of what your metabolism actually is. We have talked about this in the past. So what is metabolism? Your metabolic rate is basically the amount of calories you burn on a daily basis. When we eat food, our bodies break it down and convert it into energy to fuel everything that we do. When you eat more calories than your body needs, the excess is stored as fat. On the other hand, when you consume fewer calories than your body requires, it starts to use stored fat for energy, leading to fat loss. This is the basic principle behind weight loss, creating a calorie deficit by eating fewer calories and or increasing your physical activity. Now, when we talk about your metabolism, we usually break that down into a few different ways your body burns calories, which is important to understand when your goal is weight loss, even when your goal is weight gain. First is your basal metabolic rate, or BMR. When we talk a lot about our metabolism, we're typically referring to this. This is the number of calories your body needs to maintain basic physiological functions while at rest. For example, breathing, circulating blood, and cell production. Your BMR accounts for about 60 to 75% of the total energy you burn each day. That total energy, it's known as your total daily energy expenditure, or your TDEE. The second piece is your thermic effect of food, or TEF, which refers to the number of calories your body uses to digest, absorb, and metabolize food. It typically accounts for about 10% of your TDEE. Different macronutrients have different TEFs. For example, protein has a higher TEF compared to fats and carbohydrates. Then we have non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT, and that includes all the calories you burn through daily activities that are not formal exercise, such as walking, typing, cleaning, and even fidgeting or moving your hands. And then lastly, we have exercise activity thermogenesis, or EAT, and that's essentially the calories you're burning through anything you might consider structured exercise or physical activity. So that could be running, swimming, going to the gym, doing CrossFit, going to group classes, and other things along those lines. So those are the 4 components of your metabolism. And when people talk about their metabolism slowing down with age, they're usually claiming their BMR, which is the first one that we just talked about, is slowing down. So they're naturally not burning as many calories at rest as they used to. Maybe you've even experienced this yourself and you feel like your body just doesn't respond to diet changes and exercise like it used to. Or maybe you've been looking back at old pictures and feeling like it's impossible to get back into that shape and feel great in your body again. This is a common experience for many people, and you're not alone if you're going through this. But I want to tell you a little bit more about what the research says about metabolism and age. As I mentioned before, there was a large comprehensive study that looked specifically at this topic, and the results might actually surprise you. This study identified 4 different phases of your metabolism through the lifespan. Phase 1 takes place between birth and the age of 1. During this phase, metabolic rate steadily increases from birth and reaches a peak around 1 year of age, my son's age. This study looked at size-adjusted metabolic rate, meaning that young children aren't really consuming as many total calories, but based on their body size, their metabolic rate is higher than that of the adults. Of course, they're growing so fast. The second phase of metabolism found in this study was from 1 year to 20 years old. During this period of time, size-adjusted energy expenditure decreased by about 3% each year. So what this means is that children and adolescents burn more total calories as their body size increases, but their metabolic rate compared to their body size actually declines. Then we enter phase 3, which I would assume most of you watching this video are in right now. And this is the interesting part. The study found that your metabolic rate remains pretty stable all the way from age of 20 until you're about 60 years old. And at 60, that's when we enter phase 4 and our metabolism starts to decline at a rate of around 0.7% per year. Now, there are some caveats to the study, and there's some other research and data points that have pointed out to the fact that after age 30, typically you tend to see a decrease in muscle mass. And with decreasing muscle mass, you tend to see also a decrease in metabolic rate or your BMR. We're going to get to that a little bit later. But when it comes down to looking at a whole picture of your metabolism, there's not a whole lot of changes until you're about 60. And let me also reiterate something important about the study. The study even included and accounted for different changes that many women, for example, experience, like perimenopause and menopause. So the big takeaway here is that your metabolism most likely isn't the problem if you are between the ages of 20 and 60 and you're struggling to lose weight. You're also not imagining those changes happening in your body. Instead, your struggles most likely have to do with your lifestyle and a couple other factors. You may have a job that keeps you sedentary most of the day. You'll typically have a higher income at this stage when you're in your 40s and 50s compared to when you were in your 20s. That allows you maybe to have more commodities and conveniences, like you would eat out more often, and you also might be more stressed during this time of your life. I mean, you have responsibilities from kids, you're managing a home, possibly taking care of aging parents, and a bunch of other things that you are now worrying about that you didn't worry when you were in your 20s. Stress can really make weight loss challenging because it triggers the release of cortisol, a hormone that increases appetite and cravings for high-calorie comfort foods. This hormone can also lead to fat storage, particularly around the abdomen, as a protective response to perceived threats. Plus, stress often disrupts your sleep and leads to emotional eating, both of which can further hinder weight loss efforts by impacting metabolism and energy levels. So when you look at these factors, you can see that it's not aging that slows down your metabolism, it's how your lifestyle habits have changed as you aged. But that also doesn't mean that metabolic rate is never a problem. Some people may experience challenges when losing weight as a result of long-term restrictive eating. When you're severely restricting calories, your body naturally responds by reducing the number of calories you're burning to conserve energy. It's like you don't know when the next meal is gonna come, so your body goes, whoa, like we need to save for the rainy day. So it starts to slow down all your activities, the way you move, and all those different things like this. This is known as metabolic adaptation. And over time, this can make it harder to lose weight and easier to regain any lost weight once normal eating resumes, creating a frustrating cycle of your weight going up and down. I see this all the time. The other reason we see altered metabolism is from changes in body composition. Due to some of the lifestyle changes that I mentioned above, you might see an increase in fat and a decrease in muscle over time. In fact, I mentioned that in research has been shown that muscle tends to decrease over time, and it could be for a myriad of reasons. For example, your protein requirements are typically going to be higher. Maybe you're not meeting them, or maybe you're not incorporating or adding enough resistance training. Having a higher body fat percentage can also decrease your energy expenditure. That's because fat tissue is less metabolically active compared to lean muscle tissue, meaning that it burns fewer calories at rest. So as a result, the person with a higher body fat percentage may have a lower BMR than somebody with maybe more muscle mass, even if they weigh exactly the same amount on a scale. So there are some metabolic changes that could be a part of the picture, but luckily the advice I'm about to give you applies to almost anyone, even if you're sure that you have a broken metabolism. I'm going to get into 4 key strategies that prevent age-related weight gain in a second, but first I wanted to make one additional note, and that's about hormonal changes that come with age. In addition to the common complaints I hear about slow metabolism, blaming hormones for weight struggles, it's something that comes up all of the time. Both men and women go through hormonal changes with age that can affect their body composition. Yes. And I also don't want to discount the challenges that people experience when dealing with conditions like PCOS and hypothyroidism, among others. However, what I also see frequently is people putting all of the blame and pointing their fingers only to their hormone issues, while their lifestyle habits are extremely inconsistent. They're often not eating enough protein, not exercising frequently, they're struggling with poor sleep and high stress. So yes, of course, hormones can play a role in weight loss and weight gain, but it's essential to get this basic lifestyle habits in check first before we start digging deeper into any hormone problems. The 4 strategies I'm going to give you right now are designed to give you a solid foundation for maintaining your health and losing weight as you age. Many people will see changes in their body just by getting consistent with these habits, even if they're dealing with hormonal changes, I promise. So let's talk about 4 strategies to counteract age-related metabolic slowdown. Number 1 is building and maintaining muscle mass. As we age, our muscle mass will start to decline if we aren't actively working to build and maintain it through resistance training and a high protein diet. As I mentioned earlier, muscle tissue is more metabolically active than fat, meaning it burns more calories at rest. So losing muscle will slow your metabolism. Yes, I honestly can't stress enough how important it is to incorporate resistance training and weight-bearing exercises at least 2 to 3 times a week to boost your metabolism and improve your strength and enhance your overall body composition. It's important for women who may experience more rapid muscle loss during menopause, but it's also essential for men who will have a gradual decline in testosterone with age that can also affect muscle maintenance. The second piece is adjust your diet and pay attention to the details. Many people who tell me the diet they used to eat just isn't working anymore aren't actually eating the same foods that they used to. They've often let little habits slip in over time that increases their calorie intake, such as maybe not paying attention to small snacks throughout the day or eating out more often, and other things like that. You need to focus on a balanced diet that includes adequate protein to support muscle repair and growth, healthy fats for hormone production, and fiber-rich carbohydrates for sustained energy. Pay attention to portion sizes, opt for whole unprocessed food as much as possible, and aim to have set meals and snacks without grazing on little mindless snacks in between. On top of that, if your goal is weight loss, I recommend sticking to 3 meals or less out in restaurants each week, and definitely managing your alcohol intake. Well, perhaps when you were younger, you were drinking a lot more alcohol, but the other pieces definitely did not apply, or at least I did. Third is increasing your physical activity. Remember earlier when we talked about NEAT? Getting more of your daily movement outside of your workouts is important to combat the sedentary lifestyle that many of you can slip into as we age. I recommend setting a daily step goal of maybe 7,000 to 10,000 steps as a way to measure the way that you're active and hitting that consistently. And the last one is focus on sleep and stress management. Getting your sleep and stress under control or stress management on track through daily supportive habits and routine is going to make a bigger impact than you realize. I know it's hard when you have kids, trust me, I'm living that. And there's so much going on in your lives. I have a 1-year-old son and I totally get it. That 7 to 9 hours of sleep isn't always going to happen, but doing things like establishing a bedtime routine and implementing habits like breath work, mindfulness, and even making the investment in talking to a therapist can have huge benefits and make weight loss a lot easier. I know this is the boring stuff, but it's actually what works. Not the fluff that you're being sold on social media that gets you to believe that you do have a broken metabolism. And here, take this supplement that I sell to help you fix it. Now, with that in mind, we're going to finish up today's video with some myths that I typically like to kind of go over. Let's start with myth number 1. There are foods that speed up my metabolism and some that slow it down. Let's watch this video here real quick.
What to eat for a fast metabolism. These are things that we're never taught, but there are actually foods that will increase your metabolism and other foods that will slow it down. This matters because a 2018 study showed that over 88% of adults have at least one marker of a damaged metabolism. If you're not sure if this is you, I have a video pinned to the top of my profile that explains what a damaged metabolism looks like. Now for the food. Let's start with snacks. If you're going to eat chips, stay away from the most popular brands like Lay's and other companies who use seed oils in their ingredients, because these seed oils are going to cause you to store body fat. Instead, look for a brand like Siete, which cooks their chips in avocado oil. I also really like this brand of plantain chips, but when you're choosing chips, just make sure to always check the ingredients list for the kind of oil they're using. If you're a candy eater, you want to steer clear of brands like Skittles or Starburst or any of these companies that use artificial dyes. These dyes can actually damage parts of your brain and make it harder to regulate how much food you eat. Now, in a perfect world, I would love to see you give up candy for fruit, but if you want to keep eating candy, I recommend looking for brands like Yum Earth that actually use fruit pigments to color their products. Comment if you want to see part 2 of this series and let me know which foods you'd like to see healthy swaps for.
I'm hoping that there's not a part 2 of that series. There's literally zero evidence that any food speeds your metabolism. I really can't believe this video has 2.5 million views. Literally telling you to eat certain types of chips to speed up your metabolism. I mean, I was at least hoping that he would say protein, because high protein foods can increase TEF, or the thermic effect of food, by a small amount, but not to a level that I would say that protein speed up your metabolism. So this is 100% a myth. And if you run into videos by this guy, I highly suggest you don't pay attention. Second myth, metabolism is not the same for everyone. It's actually not a myth, it's true. Genetics can play a big role in your metabolism. Some people may even have a higher energy expenditure compared to others, but lifestyle, activity levels, and body composition still play a role, and those things can actually be changed. Genetics, unfortunately, you can't. Third is you have no control over your metabolism. That is a myth. You can influence your metabolic rate through exercise, muscle building, and smart dietary choices even as you age. And the last one is my favorite, eating every 2 to 3 hours speeds up your metabolism. I used to believe that all the time, and that's false. That's a common myth. Eating every 2 to 3 hours does not significantly speed up your metabolism. The idea comes from the concept that eating more frequently boosts your metabolism by keeping your body in a constant state of digestion. However, research shows that the total number of calories you consume and the quality of those calories are what really matters the most for metabolism and weight management, not how often you eat. But that brings us to the end of today's video, a little bit longer than usual, but those 4 tips I provide can actually be extremely helpful and powerful for helping you start to see results. But I wanted to mention that if you're a busy dad and you've been struggling with that dad bod since you've hit your 30s, and I actually created a free training that explains exactly how you can break through that plateau with your weight and start seeing results. Now, the training goes through the 3-step process that I've seen work for hundreds of my one-on-one clients, and I think you'll find it super eye-opening. So I'm going to drop the link to that video specifically in that masterclass in the description so you can go and watch it completely for free. Thank you so much for tuning into this video today. I appreciate you being here and, supportive of this. And again, I would love for you to comment below what is the main takeaway that you have from this conversation, or what is a question you may have. Have you noticed weight changes as you age? Or do you disagree with any of the points that I made in this video? Drop a comment and let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll be back with another video next week as per usual. See you soon.